Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha with Ice Cream Fitness. Yesterday I did a video on the close grip bench press, and today I want to cover my other favorite tricep exercise, the skull crusher, and give you guys a few pointers to get full tricep development out of it and to avoid shoulder and elbow pain while doing it. But hold on, let me give you guys a tricep shot first. And I'll give you a side chest. Oh, a few of my subscribers were asking about my stats. Right now, I'm 5'9", I weigh 205 pounds. My chest is 50 inches, my arms are 17, my waist is at 34, my thighs are right around 28, maybe a little bigger, my calves are 18 inches. So those are my stats. Okay guys, on to skull crushers though. The biggest problem I see with skull crushers and in general people doing any sort of tricep extension is that people don't seem to be aware that pressing and tons of pressing, bench press, close grip bench press, any sort of press in general works the lateral and the medial head of the tricep primarily, and the long head tends to get neglected. And so they tend to do isolation movements that focus on the same heads that have been worked the most heavily, which is really redundant. You should really have a heavy focus on the long head, this head back here of the tricep, when you're doing isolation movements, because it's the most neglected. And the best way to do that is to do any sort of movement to where you get extension behind the head. And so if you're doing skull crushers like this, you're really neglecting that head of the tricep. And so generally I recommend that people, when they do skull crushers, that they come all the way back so that you get a stretch. And anytime you put stretch and shoulder extension, that is when you recruit the long head of the tricep when doing any movement. Now the other thing that people do, and where they end up getting elbow pain, and also that short range of motion like that contributes to elbow pain, but it's oftentimes their grip width. People grip it way too narrow, and what you have to do, I generally prefer shoulder width, but you need to find your optimal grip that lets you do a tricep extension with zero elbow pain. There's a fine line between getting just enough elbow tuck to avoid hurting your shoulders, but not tucked so tight that it hurts your elbows. And so you've got to find that fine balance there. But I'm going to go ahead and link you guys a video of me doing skull crushers yesterday. All right, and that gives you a good idea how to do the skull crusher correctly and the way that I'm recommending. You've got to find that grip width that gives you the proper balance between recruiting all the heads of the muscle, protecting your elbows, and protecting your shoulders. And you've got to experiment just a few inches back and forth till you find it. Also, as far as getting a deeper stretch and things, there's a couple of variations that you could use of the skull crusher. You want to get a little deeper stretch on the long head if it's still really lagging for you. Sometimes doing them on a slight incline bench behind the head can put a deeper stretch and a little more focus on the long head. And also doing them on a decline for some people can give more recruitment of the long head, and oftentimes just makes it a more intense exercise. So again, if you have lagging triceps, you might want to experiment a bit with incline and decline angles until you find where you really get that deepest burn and you get the best pump and mind-muscle connection when doing this isolation movement. Another thing to look at is, for some people, doing them with a bar in general, no matter what they do, they cannot seem to get rid of elbow pain. And the final cure that I recommend for that, if your elbows hurt no matter what grip you use on it, try doing them with dumbbells and use a hammer grip, a pronated grip. And I generally find that if people do them correctly behind the head, and they use dumbbells with a hammer grip, I don't think I've ever heard anyone complain of elbow pain, even people with bad elbows, from doing that. So if that's an issue for you, you might want to give it a try. All right, guys, that's all I have to say on that today. But hold on, let me give you guys a bicep shot before I go. All right, and I'll talk to you next time.